Did you know that vitamin D might be the secret key to help us slow down the aging process? Or that over 50% of us living in the UK are deficient in this key vitamin, and that rates are even higher amongst those of us from an ethnic background? Well, today I'm looking into how this powerful nutrient can target the 12 hallmarks of aging and what you can do to help optimize your levels to help push back against those early signs of aging too. And this is particularly crucial for two groups of people. Firstly, for older adults, as our ability to effectively produce vitamin D3 significantly decreases as we age. Secondly, for those of us with a family background living nearer to the equator who now live in a more northern latitude, as our bodies simply aren't adapted to produce enough vitamin D from the more minimal sunlight that we get in those areas. But for all of us, ensuring we optimize our levels of this vitamin can be a real game changer, both for slowing down the aging process and for protecting our health. So let's break down these hallmarks of aging and see what impact vitamin D has on them. So these 12 hallmarks have all been agreed on by leading scientists in the field of gerontology. That's the study of aging. And these hallmarks are all known to occur with age naturally. And for each of them, if we experimentally modify them, we can either speed up or slow down the aging process. And the first of these hallmarks is genomic instability, which refers to the increased frequency of mutations to our genome that occur as we age. And this increase in the mutation rate can lead to an increased risk of chronic disease, including cancer. However, vitamin D has been shown to enhance genome stability, helping to repair DNA and reducing those mutations. And second is epigenetic alterations. These are changes that occur to the general structure of the DNA whilst not actually changing the DNA coding itself. And this leads to changes in how those genes are expressed. For example, an increase in epigenetic modification can change whether a gene is turned on or off, which can lead to an increased risk for different diseases and accelerated aging. And vitamin D can help mitigate against harmful epigenetic changes, improving overall gene expression patterns. And the third hallmark is disabled macroautophagy. And autophagy is the process by which cells recycle internal components that either aren't needed or aren't functioning properly. It's like a recycling process. And if it isn't working properly, these non-functional proteins build up inside the cell, decreasing the functioning of the cell. And vitamin D has been shown to help improve autophagy, ensuring this process works in the way that it should. The fourth hallmark is mitochondrial dysfunction. Mitochondria are known as the powerhouses of the cell because they're responsible for the vast majority of energy production. However, over time and with age, mitochondria lose their ability to function effectively. This results in a decrease in energy availability to the cell and increased oxidative stress. Now, vitamin D can help reduce this oxidative stress and help ensure our mitochondria function in a more optimal manner. The fifth hallmark is stem cell exhaustion. Now, stem cells are vital to ensure our repair and recovery. However, as we age, the population of stem cells declined, meaning that our ability to heal, regenerate and recover as quickly is diminished. Vitamin D can help reverse this process, reducing stem cell exhaustion. And sixth is chronic inflammation, as persistent low-level inflammation is linked to an increased risk for chronic disease and accelerated aging. Vitamin D has strong anti-inflammatory effects which can help reduce this systemic inflammation, helping contributing towards healthier aging. And the seventh hallmark is telomere attrition. Now, telomeres are protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes, which get shortened with every time the DNA gets replicated. And this shortening of our telomeres is associated with a decrease in cellular function and accelerated cellular aging. Unfortunately, vitamin D has been shown to positively impact telomere length, potentially providing a benefit against this aspect of aging. And loss of proteostasis is the 8th hallmark of aging. Proteostasis refers to the management of protein folding, recycling, and production in the cell. And disruptions to proteostasis can cause an accumulation of aberrant proteins within the cell, which contribute towards aging and disease. But vitamin D does support proteostasis, helping ensure we maintain that optimal balance of protein health within our cells. The 9th hallmark is a big one in our modern environment of excess, and it's deregulated nutrient sensing. So nutrient sensing in general helps maintain effective metabolism within our body and ensures optimal energy balance. And aging alongside increased consumption is known to negatively impact these pathways, which can contribute towards metabolic disease. However, vitamin D does provide a protective effect, helping to maintain proper nutrient sensing and maintaining optimal metabolism. The 10th hallmark is cellular senescence. You might have heard of this being spoken about often in social media as zombie cells, but these are senescent cells, which in essence are cells that have stopped dividing but simply do not die, and they spew out an inflammatory mix of compounds promoting inflammation and activation of immune cells. And these harmful substances can also damage nearby tissues, but vitamin D helps reduce the accumulation of the senescent cells and mitigate against some of their harmful effects. The 11th hallmark is altered intracellular communication. And this is because effective communication between our cells is vital to ensure optimal function. And unfortunately, aging can disrupt this system, leading to increased inflammation and tissue dysfunction. But vitamin D does help improve that intracellular communication, reduce inflammation, and helps optimize tissue health too. And the final hallmark is dysbiosis, which refers to an imbalance in the microbial populations within our body, most notably referring to that in our gut. And this imbalance in our microbiome is linked to many health issues. But fortunately, vitamin D helps optimize a healthy microbiome, improving many aspects of our health. Now, these 12 hallmarks of aging discuss some of the minute changes that occur within our bodies as we age, which we can see that vitamin D has the power to impact in a really positive way. But a decrease in overall function within our muscles and our organs is also associated with aging. And vitamin D has been shown to have big effects on some of these wider aspects of our physiology too. For example, it helps optimize our musculoskeletal structure and function. It supports ideal brain and heart health too, helping protect these vital organs against some of the pathological symptoms of aging that we see that decrease their function and increase our risk for chronic disease. So how can we boost up our vitamin D? Well, it is in numerous food sources, but the best way to optimize our levels of vitamin D is by getting out in the sunlight, as sunlight exposure is the best way to improve our vitamin D levels naturally. However, getting consistent sun exposure can be challenging in the northern hemisphere and during winter too. So alternatives include light therapy devices and supplementing with good quality vitamin D3. A good goal is to aim for optimal D3 levels between 40 nanograms per milliliter and 80 nanograms per milliliter. There are some recommendations suggesting that 20 nanograms per milliliter is sufficient. However, for me, I think that the lower end of the spectrum is more about surviving rather than potentially thriving at a slightly higher level. And some studies have suggested that between 2,000 to 8,000 IUs a day of vitamin D3 could be an ideal dose for anyone who's deficient in vitamin D. However, the ideal thing to do is to get regular blood tests so you know where your level is, and then you can see whether it's through supplementation or getting outside in the sunlight what improvements you're having and if they're getting into the range that you want them to. So, to sum it up, vitamin D plays a key role in the aging process through its ability to target each one of those 12 Hallmarks of Aging. And remember that getting outside into the sunlight is the best way that we have to optimize our levels of vitamin D. And just remember, it's about the exposure of the sun on our skin. So going out into the sunlight covered up means that we just have a small area of our skin that can benefit from that production of vitamin D. Getting the skin out into the natural sunlight is the best way. If you like this video and it was of benefit, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe below, where we release daily videos on health and well-being optimization.